Hello and welcome to In Defense of a Movie Podcast. I'm your host, Dan McIntyre.
And I'm Aaron Massey.
And we just want to say welcome to the first season of this podcast. So we're just putting the finishing touches before we start releasing, and we thought it'd be a good idea to do sort of an introductory episode where we introduce ourselves, the concept of the show, and kind of what to expect from here on out.
Yeah.
Aaron, what is this what has this podcast taught you so far?
It's been a journey for sure. Patience, a new way to view movies, to get myself out of my own head, I guess in like the normal way that I would view movies. So yeah, how about yourself?
Oh man, so much. Yeah, definitely a lot of patience. It's taught me that people love to hate things. And that there's kind of this arms race that happens when any sort of new content comes out, where everyone either wants to dogpile on it or they want to hoist it up on their shoulders. It all depends on kind of how they feel, where the mob's going. And no, it's been really, really interesting. I've learned that you technically can find something to like in just about any film. Even this many episodes in, I'm starting to feel that vibe. So the concept for the show is, there's a lot of review shows out there about movies. This is not an original concept, but what we wanted to do was to put a positive spin on movies that are otherwise really tough to get through. Aaron, I was watching the director's cut of Alien 3 one night, and Alien 3 is kind of a miserable ride, especially off the heels of Aliens, which is like one of the greatest action films ever made.
Yeah, extremely boring.
Yeah, and it's definitely widely considered to be a flop. Even the directors won't even defend that film. But it occurred to me that there was a lot of stuff in that film, even in something as bleak and depressing as Alien 3. It occurred to me that there was a lot of stuff in that film that I actually did like. But it's not stuff that you would typically see on these review shows. It's really easy to find the faults in films. That's super easy. But I think what's challenging is finding things worth liking. And in the spirit of good old-fashioned optimism, that's kind of where this idea came from, is, man, why don't we watch movies that no one really likes or people love to hate on and actually find things that are worth liking?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, how would you describe season 1 so far?
It's been great. Yeah, bit of an adventure. We've had some, I think for me personally, Geely was the hardest one to get through.
Yeah,
and
by far.
Yeah, just getting through that one, I feel like anything after that is going to be a piece of cake.
I think so. That really set the bar. It's funny, we're slowly finding our groove, because I know even on the first episode, when we listened to it back, we realized that I said the word like 60 million times. So there's always going to be, there's always going to be personal critique and stuff. But going through Geely, that was an incredibly difficult experience. So you and I have put together some lists of questions here to kind of get us off on the right foot. So you, the listener, can kind of see our backgrounds and where we come from, so we're not just these talking heads in your ear for the next 6 hours or however long for the first season is. So Aaron, I'd like to start with you with this first question.
Yeah.
What was your family's movie culture? Like movie watching culture, like growing up?
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, I am East Indian. My parents are I'm first generation Canadian. They moved over here. So as far as watching like American films or Canadian films or what North American essentially films, there wasn't a whole lot of that. They did watch like a few Hindi movies, things like that growing up, but there wasn't a ton of movie watching going on. What actually, for myself, what started this off was almost every Friday, I remember I'd ask my mom or my dad to take me to the like the rental store, and I would just go through, pick like 2 or 3 movies every single weekend, and then I would just watch them to myself. And essentially, that's how I grew up. Every Friday night, just renting a few movies and watching them.
So they didn't really watch them with you. It was kind of your experience going through them.
Yeah, it was definitely my experience just watching them by myself, which is really strange now being in my older age, because a lot of the time I'll talk to people about watching movies and stuff, and if they watch movies by themselves. And for the most part, I always get that no, like I don't like to watch movies by myself. And I have never seen it as a big deal. Like I enjoy watching a movie by myself, regardless of who's with me or if there is anyone with me.
Yeah, I understand that. Like I'm a social movie watcher. I don't typically enjoy movies as much as if I watch them alone as if I watch them with someone else. Especially comedies. I don't know if there's something weird about my personality where I will rarely laugh if I'm by myself, but if I'm with someone else, I find stuff funnier. I don't know what it is. A little weird, but yeah, I totally get that. Totally.
So what was it like for you?
Well, in my household growing up, I grew up in like rural Prince George, British Columbia, and my dad had a disability, had muscular dystrophy, so he was unable to walk. So movie watching in our household was almost like a nightly thing, quite literally a nightly thing, because my dad, he didn't have like a lot of hobbies available to him, right? It was like we weren't like other families where we were out and about and all doing all this kind of stuff. So movie watching was kind of like our go-to. It was kind of like pure escapism. So they seemed like such an integral part of our household. Like I kid you not, just about every single night we were watching some movie or another. And yeah, I mean, it's funny though, because my parents were very liberal. Like I watched a lot of stuff way younger than I should have.
Yeah.
Like, movies like Aliens and ultra-violent stuff like Terminator 2, things like that, where I grew up. I watched these shows way too young, Aaron, and like had nightmares and all this stuff, but I still loved the stories. My parents, their methodology wasn't to like hide you from the movie completely. They would just have like the quote unquote don't look scenes where I could still watch the movie, but when they knew something nasty was about to happen, they'd tell me to don't look, and I had to cover up my own eyes. And I'd usually peek, like any other kid would. So, so it was like ritualistic. It was pure escapism. Yeah.
That's funny that you bring that up, because that just reminded me, Indian parents do not watch their kids whatsoever. So like growing up, I like watched whatever I wanted to.
Really?
I flash back to this one memory, and I was watching Time Cop. And and it's just like my sisters were around and I had no idea what was like. That was my first time watching the movie. And then all of a sudden it goes to that virtual reality like porn scene, and my sisters are like, what the hell are you looking at? And I was just like, like running to stop the like VCR. Oh, so funny.
How did you decide which movies to rent? Did you guys just go solely off of like covers and stuff, or did you have a sense, like when you were younger, did you have a sense of like what was new and this or that, or like when you walked into a video store?
Man, for me, it was always action movies. So for like the longest time, I would just went on like Arnold Schwarzenegger like trails where I was just like so into Arnold. I would just basically I would look at the cover and be like, this movie looks sweet, and I would essentially rent it.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to go.
Yeah.
It's funny because, I mean, that's a little tougher to do nowadays.
Yeah.
I have so many fond memories of going to like Rogers Video with my dad and just cruising the aisles and picking stuff up and, oh, this looks cool. Oh, I haven't seen that in a while. Oh, and just going home with like a bag full of movies of 7-day rentals and just chewing through them all, That's something that is sadly lost, and I miss that. I'm super nostalgic about that.
Yeah.
Do you have any favorite, you mentioned action movies. Do you have any other favorite genres of film?
Oh, I think high fantasy and sci-fi are definitely like up there for my favorite.
Hmm.
Yeah. How about yourself?
Um, I like I like movies that kind of like mess you up for a few days, you know?
Okay. Yeah.
I love sci-fi action, stuff like that. Big fan of that. But I like movies that need like demand repeated viewings, like things you just gotta
Mm-hmm.
really chew on. You know, those kind of movies where you walk away from and your head kind of feels funny and you're like, man,
Mm-hmm.
uh, movies like, hmm, movies
The,
like
the Matrix.
The Matrix, Arrival was like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Oh, Arrival. Yeah.
Um, Blade Runner 2049 was like that. Just movies that kind of mess you up and you really got to think about. And there's
Yeah.
lots of, philosophy and symbolism, and you can just really unpack them. It's funny because, like, growing up watching movies, because we were such like a movie household, my dad would always like discuss the movies with us, like after we'd
That's
watched
really
them,
cool. Yeah.
where he'd talk about, oh, who directed what, and oh, did you catch that symbolism, or he'd talk about the music, or it was really like a discussion piece. It wasn't like this
Mm-hmm.
sedentary thing that was on. So I've always approached movies with this expectation of what can I find, what can I see that's going to be kind of cool to think about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um, should we? Can we do What's your guilty pleasure of genre?
My guilty pleasure of genre.
Yeah.
Um, Gosh, this one's tough. I am a sucker for a good rom com.
Yeah. Me too. Yeah.
I'll sit through just about any rom com, to be honest with
Mm-hmm.
you. My wife and I, we have this monthly movie night thing where she picks the movie. We call it like rom night, and
Yeah.
it's just where we on purpose watch a romantic movie and get a little emotional, a little teary eyed, and we'll eat like a nice dinner, and we'll watch like I don't know, whatever, like Notting Hill, or like
Mm-hmm.
the most recent one we watched was Little Italy with Hayden Christensen.
Okay. How was that?
It was terrible. But again, it was really cute and amusing. So yeah, no, it just
I always feel so bad because it's like, see, you're watching them with your wife. I'm just some 29-year-old dude watching them by myself. And that's where I feel a little bit weird whenever it happens. So,
Aw.
like, whenever I do watch them, though, they're definitely a guilty pleasure for me.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad our guilty pleasures are the same.
I think musicals is up there, too. Like, I really enjoy musicals.
There's definitely not enough musicals.
Yeah.
Not enough modern musicals either. That's funny. Yeah, I literally just rewatched La La Land like a couple
No,
weeks ago, and I
so
was like,
good.
yeah, this is actually a really good film. This is really,
Yeah.
really good.
I'm really excited for that Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron rom-com that's coming out.
Yeah. Now there is an unlikely pairing.
Yeah, but I find Seth Rogen like quite funny, so I'm pretty sure I'll probably end up liking that movie.
Yeah, he's a funny dude. He voices the Vancouver public like transit system, like the
Oh,
SkyTrain
really?
down here. Yeah, so if you're like taking the SkyTrain, he does these little PSAs. So
That's
you'll be like standing.
hilarious.
Yeah, you'll be standing on the platform, and Seth Rogen will come on and crack a joke about taking your backpack off or something like that. And it's just really unexpected every time because I always forget that it's a thing. And then all of a sudden, hey Vancouver, I'm Seth Rogen. And they're just like, oh my God.
Oh, that's awesome.
Let's see here. So in talking about this podcast, Darren,
Hmm.
what makes a bad movie for you?
Oh, okay. I don't know. I guess the flow is what makes it bad for me. And what determines the flow is multiple things, like the acting. How is the music? How does the music like carry over? How is it cut together? Like, are the scenes good? And so essentially, yeah. So if like the movie has a sorry, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but like just coherent, right? From start to
Coherent.
finish, then I'm like, I enjoy it. But if you find yourself with a scene or something that takes you out of the movie, then I find that that's a bad movie.
I get that. That kind of ties into like how I feel as well. I'm always big on tone.
Okay.
Like, it's sometimes whenever I'm watching a movie and I lose touch with what the filmmaker is trying to make me feel.
Yeah.
I start to get really restless. Like if it's supposed to be funny, or if it's supposed to be parody, or if it's supposed to be serious. Anytime a movie's going along and all of a sudden a scene happens or something disjoints that feels like it doesn't belong or pulls you right out of the scene. I feel like tone is a lost art of movie making these days. Prime example of this, just because it's fresh on my mind, because the new Star Wars trailer came out, for me was The Last Jedi. The tone of that movie, above anything else people complain about that movie, the tone was so confusing to me watching that film, where the more I look at it in retrospect, I really am like, no, it was actually a comedy. And I went into it thinking that it was going to be, an serious adventure kind of film like the other ones. But no, it's actually a straight up comedy.
Yeah.
And so tone for me is a big thing. I can sit through just about anything as long as I know what it's trying to do and accomplish.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah. Big on tone, man. Tone's a lost art.
Yeah.
Many modern films.
I find that even bad acting I can get through as long as it's like you're going somewhere with it,
Totally. I just last night rewatched Starship Troopers for the first time in like 10 years.
Yeah.
And one of the first thoughts I had was like, man, Denise Richards, her acting is so bad in this.
It's really bad.
But it fit her character in that universe, and the tone and the parody, the exaggerated nature of what they were doing, like what Paul Verhoeven was doing, that I was like, man, her acting's so bad, but it feels so right for this film.
Yeah, very true. Yeah.
So yeah, it's for me, it's all about feel and tone and texture and, do things make sense? Does the music fit? Does the acting coincide with the rest of the film? Cohesion. Yeah.
You got one
go?
here? Yeah, okay. Why don't we go with an easy one here? What's your like top 5 movies? Can you like it doesn't have to be in order. I figured 5 because it's really hard to narrow it down to like your number 1 all-time favorite movie, right?
Yeah, it's very, very hard. Yeah, I knew this. I made a little list of these because it's funny because I realized that kind of a genre sort of emerged, but this is in no way, shape, or form like, it's hard to say. These are just the ones that popped in my head, as like super bulletproof, tight scripted movies that I like. So, in no particular order, we got Terminator 2.
Okay.
Back to the Future.
The
Matrix.
Yeah.
I'll throw Aliens in there.
Okay.
And just for a comedy, I'm going to throw in Hot Fuzz.
Hot Fuzz, that is a good one.
How about you, Aaron?
Oh, okay. So Nacho Libre.
Yes.
I like.
Oh my gosh.
I love that movie.
Yes.
The Hunt for the Wilder People.
Oh, good choice. Yeah, that's a really good movie.
Yeah, it's really good. It takes you like that is the only movie that has taken me on such like an emotional journey.
Yeah, that's a damn good film.
Swiss Army Man. I really like that movie. Have you watched it?
No, I still haven't seen it. You have told me to watch that movie like so many times, and I'm so intimidated by it.
Oh man, I absolutely love that movie. It's just so like out there. And then I think I put like the Star Wars, like all the movies kind of as like one.
Yeah.
Because like, it's tough to just pick one out of there, but
it is tough. Yeah.
And then I think I got to go with like all the Lord of the Rings as well as like my 5th there.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have any honorable mentions?
Yeah, District 9 and Interstellar.
Yeah, those are both really
They're
good.
like they're in there too.
Yeah. I would say right up on the top of my list too is like Raiders of the Lost Ark, some
Yeah.
classic like Indiana Jones. I think honestly RoboCop kind of popped on my list
Oh,
too.
really?
There's
RoboCop.
something about that script, man. That movie just wails. It doesn't waste a
Yeah.
second.
Yeah.
Um
So you're totally an action guy, hey?
It's weird. I didn't know this until I made this list because I truly will sit through just about anything. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm a sci-fi action guy after
Oh
all.
man, mine I feel like is a bit all over the place in compared to yours.
It is. But
Well, I
that
think Nacho Libre, Hunt for Wilder People, The Wilder People, and Swiss Army Man kind of all have almost the same kind of feel good feel to it.
yeah, and they do definitely have like some they have comedy,
Mm-hmm.
but they also have a dramatic texture to them.
Yeah, so like dramatic comedy, I guess maybe that's mine.
Dramedy.
Dramedy.
If that doesn't exist, it exists now.
Hashtag dramadity.
Dramadity. Do you prefer to watch movies at home or in the theater?
Oh, both. I really enjoy seeing a movie when it first premieres in the theater with everyone, but I also don't mind watching it at home.
Yeah, I hear you.
It's not for me. It's never been like a lot of people will be like, oh, like I'll wait until that one comes to DVD, and it has to be a movie that I really don't care about for me to see it on DVD. But for the most part, like I'm always like it's an experience. I don't mind at all paying the whatever $13-14 to go see it in the theater.
Yeah,
What about you?
that makes sense. Yeah, that kind of ties in because I was going to ask you like what would get you to go out and drop that money on a ticket to leave the house? You know what I mean? And like,
Yeah,
yeah,
not much.
not
Someone
much.
literally asking me to go see a movie is what it would take.
That makes sense. Yeah, I know you and I, we've known each other for like a decade now.
Yeah.
And we've been friends for pretty much just as long. And yeah, I know when I lived back in Edmonton with you, you and I would always go check out movies together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, was it you and I that saw that Chris Evans and Anna Faris like rom-com together?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, we would.
Like so random, but that's just like
Random.
just like that was probably a super terrible rom-com, and it's two dudes just going to it, and we paid the whatever like $13 to see it. So
Yeah,
that should
and
give an idea of how we feel about going to the theater.
we sat there in the dark and just we took it in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, here's an interesting one. What would you say is the greatest decade in film history and why?
Oh, okay. So now I think that is like a tough one. I feel that the decades of movie have to do with like the genre of movies.
Yeah.
So I feel like 90s was really big into action movies.
Mhm.
I don't know. What would you put at the 2010s for like what genre movie was big then?
The 2000s, I feel like was the first thing that jumps in my mind is like the teen college comedies,
Oh
like the
yeah,
era
okay, yeah.
of like American Pies and Jay and Silent Bob's and
And terrible comedies that we've been reviewing.
yes. Yes. Lots of chances were taken. A lot of things did not work.
Yeah.
But that's by no means like totally defines them. But in my own personal experience, I definitely remember the 2000s as like the, Blink 182 fart dick poop jokes kind of thing,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's just
Yeah.
me.
No. I like completely agree with that.
Yeah.
But if I had to pick a genre as my favorite, I probably would go with the 90s.
Yeah.
Just because like nostalgia and so many, great memories going to the movie theater and the movie store renting action movies and watching them as a kid.
Yeah, I totally agree. The 90s were exceptional when it comes to movies. I feel like, you were just off the heels of the 80s sci-fi fantasy movement. And things just got a little bit more tasteful in the 90s. And special effects just got a little bit better.
Yeah.
And the screenwriting, you had heavy hitters like Spielberg at peak Spielberg. You had all sorts of cool stuff happening. Like, this is the same decade where you got like Jurassic Park, Terminator 2, my gosh, The Matrix. So many high concept projects that hit the screen all at once, and yeah. The early 90s especially, because I think Terminator 2 was like 92, Jurassic Park I think was 93, somewhere in there. Just smash hit after smash hit, all these movies that came out then, there's more and more sequels today even coming out, right? So
and the remakes as well.
And the remakes, yeah. This isn't one of the questions I had, but yeah, that brings me to my question. How do you feel about I guess it is kind of one of my questions. How do you feel about like the state of Hollywood right now with all the sequels and this and that and remakes?
Oh, I'm going to say something really controversial here. And I'm going to say that superhero movies are ruining the movie industry. And that's like my personal opinion on the state of Hollywood right now.
I think a lot of people would share that sentiment.
Yeah, you think so? Okay, because like a few people just absolutely like love them. But yeah, I don't know. I just find that like movies now just follow a format, and it's like the Disney Marvel format of like, you know what I mean. How would you explain it?
Well, I would basically explain it as cinematic universes. Long form narrative is ruining it's overpowering anything that could otherwise have a chance to breathe on the big screen.
Yeah.
But the only reason why is because everything is so financially motivated. It seems to be, in 2019 when we're recording this, it seems to be that if a movie doesn't cross the $1 billion mark, it is not considered a success. It is not considered like a smash hit. Even Captain Marvel, which I had a fairly lukewarm reaction to in the theater. Didn't hate it. I enjoyed it. But I was like, yeah, it's pretty good. I was surprised to hear that it crossed the $1 billion mark, because I just thought, it wasn't that long ago, maybe just a few years, when crossing $1 billion took something truly exceptional.
Yeah.
And I just didn't consider Captain Marvel to be a truly exceptional film. It just felt like another piece of the bigger puzzle, and it's funny because I enjoy the Marvel films, but I also will watch like independent French films. You know what I mean? Like I'm kind of an odd duck that way, where like I don't. I get it. Don't get me wrong. I am crazy excited about Avengers Endgame. Like you and I both have tickets already.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I hate that a lot of stuff's getting squeezed out and pushed onto streaming services where it gets buried, in the noise. Yeah, it's like
I think it's like, like exactly what you're saying is you have to cross this $1 billion mark. And what's happening is they just play it safe and they go, oh, everyone is going to eat up a superhero movie. So that's what they pump out, and they just continuously pumping out. And so they're less likely to take the risk on something that is, like an independent film and things like that. Like it has to have like Oscar buzz in order for it to actually like premiere in the theater,
Yes.
Like very, very few movies now, maybe a few like horror movies and thrillers and stuff, but like you just don't get the classic, just like no one takes a risk on a movie anymore.
It's true. And there's this really cool clip of George Lucas talking about this, where he's talking about he's talking about his relationship with Disney at large. It was just after he had sold Star Wars and The Force Awakens had come out, and he was criticizing Force Awakens, saying that Disney was playing it safe and they wanted to do a retro movie. And he talked about the creative bankruptcy,
Yeah.
where it's hard to not be cynical watching some of these franchises, because it's the more movies you watch and the more you understand about filmmaking and script writing, the more you see the bells and the gears and the smoke and mirrors behind the scenes. You see the one of the things you and I were talking about was referential humor, references when they pop on screen, because we had just talked about the Emoji Movie in one of our episodes, and there was this Captain Picard reference that I got a big kick out of. And it seems like movies and remakes and all of that, they're just full of those little moments, those little references, those little callbacks to more successful things, like nostalgia. You know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah.
Where they're just like, okay, if we inject some nostalgia into this, well, people will like it. But
yeah,
what people truly like about films is good stories and good characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we go on to another question, or
let's go on to another question? I don't want to get too cynical about the state of Hollywood.
We could probably talk about that. We could do a whole episode on this alone.
Exactly. I don't want to get stuck in the weeds here, because I totally could. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been trying, I've wanted to get into more of movies that win at film festivals. So I've been trying to go down that route a lot more. And it's been pretty good. Like, you watch a lot of interesting movies that way.
Yeah, totally. There's some good stuff out there. There really is.
Yeah.
It's super easy to just get stuck in this bubble of like whatever is not, at Cineplex is we don't watch or whatever. It's really easy to get in that state of mind, but there's some really cool stuff out there,
Yeah.
And it's growing. It's growing every year. Independent films, that whole it's almost like a subgenre in itself.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's growing every year. Every year there's more and more stuff, bigger budgets, cooler stuff.
I think people recognize what we're talking about, and that's why that you see independent start to come up here, because people are like, well, I don't want to watch a movie about superheroes. I want to watch something that's going to make me think or make me aware of something that's going on in another country. And so you got this whole subcategory, subgenre. Is that what you said?
Yeah, it's almost like a subgenre. What I'm seeing happening is that a lot of these independent directors, specifically directors, because directors they seem to get so much credit for the entirety of the project. But okay, Aaron, an independent director will come along and do like a brilliant independent film. Next thing we know, they're handed the keys to the kingdom and they're put in charge of the next Marvel movie or the next Star Wars movie. And suddenly that director gets kind of absorbed in the bigger picture Hollywood industry.
I would completely agree with that. Who do you remember? I can never say his name correctly. He is the one who does, he did Thor Ragnarok. He did The Hunt for the Wilder People. Something Wapiti. I can never pronounce his name correctly. New Zealand guy.
Yeah. He's a prime example.
Yeah, but you know what? I find that because I guess Thor Ragnarok was the biggest movie that he did, and I found that because he did What We Do in the Shadows. Have you seen that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Hilarious movie. Hunt for Wilder People. Great movie, and Thor Ragnarok, it ended up being one of my my second favorite Marvel movie.
I'm gonna take a shot at this. Taika Waititi.
Okay, yeah, sure. I'll go with that.
I think I did okay.
Yeah, I can never say it, but I essentially think that he is. Well, we haven't seen any major projects for him yet.
That's
other than Thor Ragnarok.
That's an interesting example, because Thor Ragnarok is definitely one of the best, widely believed to be agreed to be one of the best Marvel films.
Yeah.
By a country mile, the best Thor film. And that's a prime example. Someone who was plucked from, this small independent film
Yeah.
to helm a big Marvel project, a tentpole Marvel movie. And that's something we're seeing more and more. And I always get concerned that we're going to lose those directors in the din of what it means to be a Hollywood director, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With that, should we jump into another question?
Yeah. Let's
go. Let's go with an easy one here. What are you most excited for this year?
This year.
Yeah, 2019.
I'm most excited. I'm definitely very excited about Avengers Endgame. Because that's a culmination of like 20 different films. I'm excited about the new Terminator film just to see Linda Hamilton return as Sarah Connor. I'm excited.
Oh, is that out this year?
That's out this year. That's out this November. They just released a trailer for the Joker film, which I had no interest in seeing until I saw this trailer.
And it looks good.
It looks good. Joaquin Phoenix looks like he's doing something really, really good. And just to add, there's this new zombie film called The Dead Don't Die, which looks hilarious, which has
with Bill Murray in it?
Yeah, and Adam Driver, and it looks outrageous.
Yeah.
And just to add a comedy to the list, there's this movie coming out called Stuber, which stars Kumail Nanjiani and Dave Bautista.
Oh, okay,
and
yeah.
It's like a buddy comedy, and I love both those actors, and it looks hilarious. They're both really funny dudes, so I'm really stoked to see that too.
Yeah.
How about you?
I'm like, I wish I could say I was excited for Star Wars, but I'm like cautiously optimistic about it. So yeah, I'm like a bit more nervous than anything else. I think number one that I'm the most excited for is probably John Wick 3.
Yes.
I feel like we just haven't seen an action movie like John Wick they haven't been making action movies like that since the 90s, right? Yeah. And so now we got like John Wick, and it's essentially it is like a true action movie. And that's what I really enjoy about it. So I'm really excited for that. And now that you say Terminator, I'm also excited for that. I had no idea that was coming out this year. Yeah.
I mean, full disclosure, I haven't enjoyed a Terminator film since Terminator 2, but it's frustrated, man. It's frustrating because I keep watching them. I keep thinking maybe this one will be different, and I keep watching them in the theater, and I keep going away feeling kind of disappointed. And
but this one is like a thrown back, like James Cameron is doing it, right? So it might be good.
Yeah, he's producing. The director who directed Deadpool, I think his name's Tim Miller. He's directing, and they have publicly stated that it's a direct sequel to Terminator 2. They're retconning the rest. So Terminator 3 and on do not exist anymore.
Oh yeah, so it could be good.
It could be good, but again, it could be terrible because this franchise, if this one doesn't work, then Terminator's dead. Like there's no coming back. So it's ballsy. We'll see what they do.
Yeah. Do you want to do a fun one here? A fun question. So say the world ended and people were rediscovering civilization, and they found a movie, and this movie was essentially going to show it's either going to influence like society going forward, or it's going to show what it was like before the apocalypse happened. Did I explain that good?
I think so.
Yeah.
So if I had to choose one movie?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought long and hard about this. And the movie I'm going to choose is going to be Happy Gilmore. No. I'm actually kidding. No, that'd be a good one too. No. Okay, I'm actually going to choose Interstellar, and there's a few different reasons for it.
Okay.
One is it really encapsulates where we're headed as a species. but it also, and there's that sad view of like, where the world's kind of not going so well. We're kind of killing the climate. There's a lot of bad news out there, but it also encapsulates our human nature, our drive to succeed, our optimism, our journey to the stars that should be way further along than it is today, to be honest with you. And the human achievement, the simulation they did to bring that black hole to life on screen, which we've just found out because as we're recording this last week, they released the first ever picture of a black hole. And it is very close to what Interstellar had visualized on screen. So, culturally speaking, that's a big effing deal for the human race. And it carries such a heavy message. There's a lot about love, as Anne Hathaway's character will tell you. And yeah, man, I feel like Interstellar checks all the boxes. Great film, great filmmaking, and encapsulates who we are, where we're going, and what we could be. So,
yeah.
How about you, dude?
Oh, I was going to answer it with a joke like you did and say like Hannah Montana, the movie or something like that.
Montana.
Yeah, that's what I want society or human race to be remembered as. I had such a hard time picking for this. I thought Book of Eli would be a good one.
Ooh, that's a good film.
Yeah, and but then I was like, it's a bit on the religious side, so I wouldn't want that. Yeah, I don't know. I think I would go for like something completely random, like Inglourious Bastards or something, so that that would be, they would consider that, maybe they would think that was history and that's how Hitler died or something like that. And then that would be noted in history as how Hitler died because of Inglourious Bastards. And so
just total revisionist history.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to go with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a wise choice. No, that's pretty cool, actually. Yeah, my wife hates that film because she's a big history buff and not a big fan of revisionism. Not at all.
I wish you could a teacher could show it in school and be like, "Yeah, that's how it happened."
Yeah, it's pretty cool that they showed it on screen for the first time.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, do you have any more questions you want to go through here?
Yeah. Okay. Oh, here's a fun one. Do you think so? Disney just announced their new streaming service this fall. Yeah. Well, it's been announced for a while, but they've unveiled more of the lineup. They're going full tilt on new Marvel and Star Wars content, and they've completed the Fox merger buyout thing. And I wanted to ask, A, do you think you'll get it? And B, do you think that it's a Netflix killer?
Oh, I don't think anything will ever be a Netflix killer. Netflix is just too ingrained into society because it was the first major streaming service. But I think I will get it. I also think I will keep my Netflix account.
Yeah.
Because what are they offering it for? Like $7 or something like that a month?
Yeah, they announced it as $6.99, but that was American. So for us Canadians, I don't even know what that's going to be.
So like $10 or $11.
Yeah, I'm hoping under 10. I'm optimistic that it'll be 10 or under.
Yeah, I will end up subscribing to it. Like I'll probably because I have a few of the streaming accounts. Like I have a Crave and I have a Prime, and I'll probably end up getting rid of my Prime because there's nothing really good on it right now. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think I've watched a single Amazon show. Yeah, I watched the Jack Ryan one, and that wasn't too bad. But I was a big Mr. Robot fan there, so that's why I wanted to have it. And then also Parks and Rec, which is a hilarious show.
That is an amazing show, yeah.
Yeah, so those were the two, and mine expires in September, so I don't see myself renewing it. Not until the Lord of the Rings show comes out, anyways.
Yeah, but man, what a dry spell till that happens, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough. But I pretty much agree. I think, I think I'll get it, or at least try it out and see what's
Hmm.
on it. Um, if nothing else, just to be able to watch those old Disney cartoons because I don't know where to watch them. Like, besides buying digital copies of them, which I don't like buying digital copies of anything. But if I,
Hmm.
like if I wanted to watch Aladdin right now or Snow White or Sleeping Beauty, I wouldn't even know how.
Hmm.
Besides, like, buying it for $20 just to digitally watch it.
Yeah.
Because I don't stream illegally. I just never really have. I'm not really into it. So,
Hmm.
um, yeah. So if nothing else, just to see the old vault shows that I grew up with, like Bambi and stuff like that. I'd love to watch those old shows if I could. Um, I'm
Yeah.
not super excited about like the Mandalorian or new Star Wars shows. I'm just not because it's oversaturation to me. I just don't really care anymore, you know?
Yeah. So, do you think Fox shows are going to be on there too? Like, do you think The Simpsons will be on the streaming site?
Yes, they actually announced at because they're doing. It's weird. They announced this at Star Wars Celebration this weekend.
Hmm.
Um, it's a weird place to announce it, but I guess it makes sense because that's you got everyone in the room. That all 30 some odd seasons of The Simpsons are gonna go live with Disney Plus.
Wow, I'm actually excited for that. I've been wanting to watch like the new Simpsons, but like, who has time to watch it? What is it like on a Sunday night or whenever it is? I don't even know anymore.
I don't even know. I could
Yeah.
not tell you the last time I sat through an episode of The Simpsons.
Yeah.
But I remember, man, I remember coming home from school in the 90s, and every night over dinner, we'd watch The Simpsons, and
Yeah.
we'd laugh our asses off because The Simpsons used to be really freaking funny.
Yeah.
So it would be great to go down memory lane to a simpler time.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. I'm probably the most. I would get it alone just to watch The Simpsons.
And this is my problem. Like, I feel like maybe it's just a sign of my age because I'm 32, and
Yeah.
the things I'm most excited about on Disney Plus is not the new content. It's just having access to the old stuff again. And
Hmm.
maybe I'm dating myself, but I think I don't know. I think that's what's really going to pull me in to a
Yeah.
subscription.
Yeah. I'm really
Yeah.
excited for Sword in the Stone as well.
Heck yeah.
I haven't seen that in years.
Yeah. So you and I, in preparation for our podcast, we talked about the idea of doing seasons. So our first season is kind of just us warming up and finding our flow and doing kind of spanning across different decades, trying different shows. But we've talked about doing like a sequel season and a Netflix season and a few different things like that. I wanted to ask, like in the list that we're kind of curating, is there what movies are you most excited to do on our show that we've kind of talked about? Just to give a sneak peek of the coming
For
content.
sequels, I was thinking Alien Resurrection would be a really good one. I don't know personally what the ratings are on that one. I'd have to take a look at my Zoolander 2 is a great sequel that just scored absolutely horrible and people hated, but I thought was hilarious. So I'm excited to do. Yeah, I'm excited to do that. Yeah, I'm not sure. What about yourself?
Yeah, I think I'm most excited to do some of the films that I kind of remember slightly enjoying already, because those are much easier to tackle than the ones going in blind. Being like, okay, what are we up against here? We talked about Wild Wild West.
Oh yeah, that's going to be a good one.
I'm excited to rewatch that again. Any excuse to watch some of those dumb action films that I remember enjoying, but might have been too young to really understand what I was looking at. I'm excited to do Kazam.
Kazam. I've never seen Kazam.
I'm excited to do Love Guru.
Oh, Love Guru, so good.
And I'm really excited. I don't know when we're going to do these, by the way, but I'm really excited to do Godzilla, the Matthew Broderick one.
Okay, yeah.
Because that's a pretty easy movie to defend.
Yeah, I really remember really enjoying that movie as a kid.
Yeah, man, I'm really excited. I think I think, just to be forthcoming about it, I think the goal of this podcast is really to get you, the listener, to take a second look at these movies with an open mind and to discover some joy in them, you know?
Yeah, and to get out of that mob mentality. It's easy to hate on a movie and it's easy to join in and stuff, but it takes a little bit more effort to find the positives.
Yeah, man. Too much hate in this world.
Exactly.
Gotta find stuff to like.
Exactly.
Gotta find stuff to like.
You know what they say, if you can't beat them, join them. So, wait, that doesn't work in this because then that's mob mentality. Never mind, scratch that.
Aaron, do you remember the first movie you saw in the theater with your parents?
Oh, yeah. So my dad took me to see Lion King.
Damn.
Yeah, that was the first movie I saw. What about you?
You know, okay, I know this isn't right, but it's the only one I can distinctly remember. I know I was brought to the theater. Like I said, I was exposed to stuff way too young, too stinking young. I don't recommend that for your kids, but that's what my childhood was. The one I distinctly remember, and I would have been 5 years old, so this will be good enough for me, was The Rocketeer in 1991.
Okay. I have no idea what that is.
You don't know what The Rocketeer is?
No, I've never seen it.
Aaron, oh my God. Okay, well, I strongly recommend The Rocketeer. It's about jetpacks and Nazis, and it's an adventure film. Great score. Got to check it out.
Okay.
Yeah, that movie captured my imagination. I even learned to play the score on the piano. I'm a terrible pianist, but I learned to play it.
Oh, wow.
Just because I loved it so much.
Yeah. Do you remember the first movie you saw away from your parents and with just your friends?
I don't.
Or by yourself, one or the other?
I really don't. I didn't. Truthfully, when I was younger, I didn't have like a lot of friends, so I really didn't really go see movies outside of being with my. I'm making my childhood sound kind of strange and bleak, but I remember going to see Jim Carrey's The Grinch. I distinctly remember going to see that.
Yeah.
And I distinctly remember going to see The Sixth Sense as like a birthday party thing and making a huge mess out of the theater. So I'll say those two. I don't know if I know it probably gets earlier than that, but my memory's so bad for this stuff now. How about you?
So like I remember mine, and it was my like childhood friend. He called me up when I think I had to be like 13, 14 at the time. And he was like, hey, do you want to go see a movie? And I was like, yeah, okay. And I asked my dad to drop me at the movie theater. And it was like super slim pickings. And I think we ended up seeing Coyote Ugly.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I have seen that in theaters.
That's so funny. It's like it's not a movie that two like 13-year-old boys go to.
Or is it?
Yeah, or is it? Yeah.
My sister dragged me to see that in the theater. I think when we were in Vancouver visiting my grandma one year. And yeah, that's hilarious that we've both seen that in the theater.
I think the other movie, it took me forever to see a movie by myself in the theater. I just could never get over that barrier. But the first one that I saw, I think was like the 5th Fast and Furious movie. Like I went by myself to go see it. So, and then I think I saw the 6th one by myself as well.
Oh man. Okay. I remember what the first movie I ever saw by myself was. It was Pirates of the Caribbean 3.
Nice.
I was in Jasper at the time, and it was the only thing playing because Jasper has like a one cinema theater. Yeah. And I went and saw the Pirates of the Caribbean. It's on. I can't even remember the name of them. They're all so confusing to me. But it was like it was super long, and I was kind of bored, and I didn't really like it.
Yeah.
I just remember something about like crabs or something. I don't know.
It's because you were by yourself. Because you watch the third one now, it's hilarious.
See, I gotta watch a movie with someone else, or else I just don't appreciate it. Weird.
Yeah. That's okay. Let's do this question. What's your opinion of 3D films?
Not very high. Like, I don't need it, to be honest with you. I don't. Within 5 minutes of the film, I kind of forget that it's in 3D. You know?
Yeah.
I just don't need it. Like it's such a gimmick and it's a little more expensive. And the movies, I find that whenever I watch a movie in 3D, it's also dimmer, like the movie's not as bright because
yeah.
And it just I don't know, man. It's
a total cash grab.
Total cash grab. It's totally unnecessary.
Yeah. I have terrible depth perception, so it doesn't even work for me. It's just like a dark movie that I'm wearing glasses in. So I absolutely hate it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's dumb. It's one of those things where you put it on in the first couple seconds, you're like, ooh, look at the credits. The credits are popping out. Mm-hmm. And then within 10 minutes, you're like, why am I doing this? They're literally just like, and the kind of movies that get made into 3D, like 3D is not for every movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I went and saw Shazam this week, and I was like, why is this movie in 3D?
Yeah.
Like, this movie does not need to be in 3D.
No, it doesn't. Like, that's what I mean, is they're just literally do it so they can charge you like an extra $2 or $3 for it.
Yeah. Yeah, not into it. Not 3D at home, not 3D at the theater. It's just silly. If I'm going to see something in 3D, it's going to be like a ride or something, like like soaring over California or something. That's when 3D would be cool. But I don't need 3D when I'm watching Fast and the Furious. That's just silly.
Yeah, like charge us the same amount. Just get rid of the 3D. Like, I don't care.
Did you ever? This did not catch on, but did you ever see a movie in that Barco format where it's like 3 different screens?
No,
like
I never did.
So I honestly, I can think of like 2 movies that did it. They did like the Maze Runner, and then they did like one of the newest Star Trek movies. Yeah. But I had thought that was going to catch on. Mm-hmm. More so than 3D, because it wrapped the cinema. It was kind of immersive and added this neat depth to the movie. I was excited to see that catch on, and it didn't at all. So, yeah.
What a shame.
It sucks because there's these board meetings where all these studio execs are trying to push, like, how do we make more money? How do we create more immersion? Like, oh, let's make the seats move. Let's make all this gimmicky stuff. But at the end of the day, like, if there's not a good story and not good characters, it's all just such a waste.
Yeah.
I went and saw Aquaman in D-box seating. Mm-hmm. And in that movie, every scene ends with someone like bursting through a wall.
Yeah, do you have shaken baby syndrome at the end of the movie?
Yeah, by the end, I just felt miserable.
Yeah.
I was like, my gosh, man, I'm tired. Like, I am drained from this experience. I was like, I don't think I'm going to watch a D-box movie again, man.
Yeah, I've done it once and then I never did it again.
I remember doing Pacific Rim in D-box.
Yeah.
And it was pretty cool because you felt the robot move. I was like, okay, this is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Aquaman just made me feel miserable. Mm-hmm. It was 3D and D-box, so it was just like, what am I doing to my body right now?
Yeah.
Okay, here's a good one. I like this one. Do you have any pre-movie watching rituals, like getting certain snacks or drinks and stuff?
Oh, yeah. I definitely do. I like to go to the 7-Eleven by my house, and usually I'll grab depending on if I'm tired or not, I'll grab a Red Bull, nice. A Wonder Bar, and like a bag of Miss Vicky chips. And those are like
nice.
my like go-to snacks. And then I like to come home, get everything done so that I don't have to get up.
Yeah.
And then I just turn it on and watch it.
Nice. That's nice.
Yeah. What about you?
We'll usually grab a bag or 2 of hard bite potato chips. They're kind of like a BC brand down here. They're really tasty. We'll grab some popcorn. I'm such a popcorn guy.
Yeah.
And we'll dim the lights. It sucks. We're in I have to be noise conscious for the most part because we're in like an apartment. But we'll turn the lights down. We'll turn on the backlight on the TV. I'll try to pick a color that matches the film ish. Yeah. And it's for us. It's not in some households it's like, okay, there's a movie on, but you're still kind of just whatever. But in our household, man, like our phones are off. We're not off, but they're in the kitchen or something, and we're like we're glued to the TV. Like it's really an experience.
Yeah. No, I'm the same way. Yeah, you should explain. Oh, okay. For those of you who don't know, like a backlit, what he means by that is Dan and I both have this LED strip that goes behind our TV so that you can change the mood lighting as you watch whatever show it is. I highly suggest those of you who do not have that already do it because it makes your viewing experience so much better. You don't strain your eyes. And it is just cool mood lighting that goes behind it. Sorry, yes. I felt like I had to explain that.
Oh no, that's so true. Like if you find that you get tired and fatigued, or maybe even fall asleep when you try to watch movies, get a backlight. It'll change your life.
It'll like it's amazing how much it will change your movie viewing experience, and especially when you have like if you have something that has really nice nature shots. You know, like if you're watching like Blue Planet or something like that, you can turn on blue light, and it just adds so much to whatever you're viewing.
Yeah, it really like spills it out into the room, really pulls you in. Yeah, it's nice. And then you can see your snack dishes and stuff too. It's nice.
Yeah. We should do this question. What was it like when you first watched Star Wars? Because I feel for you and I, Star Wars was a pretty big part of our childhood, right?
Oh, yeah.
Even growing up now, it's still pretty big. So in terms of movies that have left an impact in me, I think Star Wars is probably one of the biggest ones.
Total game changer. Yeah. Total game changer. Man, I wanted to be an X-Wing pilot so bad. Even more than a Jedi. I just wanted to fly an X-Wing. Like my grandpa built and designed aircraft. So piloting and flying was always like something that I looked up to and thought, I want to be that. So when I saw the Death Star trench run for the first time, I was hooked.
Yeah.
I remember, man, when I was a kid, I used to, like a little kid, we had this little rocking chair, like a kiddie rocking chair. I'd park it in front of the TV and I would grab like a stick or a flute or anything that I could pretend is a flight stick. And I would sit there and fast forward on the VHS tape to when the Death Star trench assault starts. And I would just sit there and pretend that I was Luke Skywalker flying that X-Wing. It was, you know what I mean? Like I was obsessed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember, I think it was after episode 1, I went and I saw it with my friend, and then we like walked to Walmart after, and I bought a lightsaber, and then we just like went in my backyard, and he threw like pine cones at me while I tried to hit them with the lightsaber.
Do you remember how well you did? Were you good?
Oh, I was like, I don't know, maybe like 2 for 5, something like that.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's wicked.
Yeah, so I think my first time watching it, I remember I was at one of my aunt's house, and someone just turned on the movie as to like keep these kids quiet kind of thing.
Keep these kids in their place. Yeah.
And then I just remember being so like entranced by it and being, what is this? Because I think when I watched it was right around the time that they did the re-release on like VHS. So that had to be like what, 90, 94, 93, somewhere right around there.
Yeah.
And like, because I grew up in a like an Indian household, so my parents didn't know what Star Wars was. Nobody told me. I had like zero influence, and this movie just got randomly put on, and I just like fell in love with it. Man,
that's so sweet.
Yeah.
My dad hated the remastered. Hated them.
Yeah.
Hated the new special effects. We would we had the original VHSs. We had them on Laserdisc. If anyone remembers Laserdiscs, they're like these huge, they're maybe like 10 inches in diameter. They're like records, like LPs that you'd have to flip them halfway through the film. And so, that was how I grew to know Star Wars. When I watch them now on Blu-ray, I'm always a little bit disoriented when I see some of the stuff because it doesn't resonate with what I saw growing up. But
you don't get to see the naked Twi'leks.
I know, it was always such a ritual pulling out these massive laser discs, and making sure they were dusted off, and
Yeah.
you know, kids today don't know. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I feel like we've really dated ourselves in this episode here.
We have, but I think, anyone listening to this is probably going to be around our age who's willing to take a chance on some of these sort of films. That being said, there's two more questions that you had here that I want to touch on before we wrap this up. First one, which I thought was awesome, is what, in your opinion, is the most underrated movie?
Oh, this is a tough one for me. I think I would have to go off of my favorite list here and say Swiss Army Man. A lot of people don't understand that movie to begin with, and that's probably what I would go with.
Yeah.
What about you?
I'm gonna go with a movie called UHF, which was
okay. Yeah.
It stars Weird Al Yankovic. It's the only movie that really stars Weird Al Yankovic. To this day, I quote this film more often than I should. Every time I watch it, I laugh like so freaking hard. It's one of the most meta, hilarious comedies to this day. Honestly, it was a total box office flop when it came out. And to this day, people still ask Weird Al in interviews, are you going to make another one? Are you going to make another one? And he plays around with it. He kind of hints at it. But if you haven't seen UHF, or if you haven't seen it in a long time, oh my God, it is, oh, it's a total absurd comedy.
That's a movie I have to rewatch. It's been years since I've seen it.
You know, those kind of comedies where, like, it's almost like when we talked about Master of Disguise, where they're just kind of throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks.
Yeah.
It's totally like that.
Okay. I remember the teacher turned it on in, like, my grade 10 drama class, and I knew about the movie and I knew what it was, but I was just more interested in talking to girls, or trying to talk to girls anyways, and then paying attention to the movie. So I kind of like half watched it. So that is definitely one that I have to like go back and watch. Yeah,
man. You should check it out. I highly recommend it. I wish it was held in higher regard than it is. Yeah. I'm tempted to quote it even now, but I won't, because it won't mean anything. It won't mean anything to you.
So I have to go watch that movie, and you have to go watch Swiss Army Man.
Deal. Let's do it, and we'll reconvene.
Okay. Swiss Army Man, because of the ending of the movie, it's one of those movies where you're just like, I don't know what I just watched or what to think about this, and that's how it leaves you, and that's why I love it.
Oh man, I have to check it out. I have to finally nut up and watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last but not least, Aaron, do you consider yourself to be a movie buff?
Oh, now this is an interesting question, because I think typically movie buffs are like, well, I can answer all this trivia and do all this stuff. And in my opinion, I don't think that that's how it should work. I think, A, do you enjoy watching movies? Yes.
Right.
And like, B, will you watch almost anything? And if you say yes, then yeah. And like, I also think there's a certain quota of movies that you have to fulfill and see. But I by no means think that you have to have extensive knowledge to be a buff. You just have to you have to genuinely enjoy them and watch like a ton of movies, essentially. What about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I think at this point, I definitely consider myself a movie buff. They've been such a big part of my upbringing. My dad was a huge movie buff. So, like, when I say that I grew up watching a movie a night, I mean across the spectrum. Like, I grew up watching everything from, like, Errol Flynn, old black and white movies, and John Wayne country western movies, and like spaghetti westerns, and classics like Casablanca, and the Maltese Falcon, Alfred Hitchcock movies. Like, I grew up in a really cultured house in that sense, where nothing was off limits. So I know a ton about films and filmmaking, and I can tell you who did the music in this and that and blah, 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 all that kind of trivia stuff. But I definitely have a supreme admiration for them. I write stories. I I have a strong interest in special effects and things like that, and it's something that I'm trying to kind of bust into doing professionally. So I think honestly, like when it comes to movies, I definitely have a deep-rooted fondness for them. Old movies, new movies, whatever. Like, I'm the kind of guy that one weekend will go watch a Marvel film in theaters, and then the next weekend go down to the Rio or the local independent house and watch some obscure film that, with 10 other people in the cinema. So
yeah,
that's kind of my jam. I'm all over the place.
Yeah. That makes sense. Me too.
Yeah. I like it all, man. In my opinion, it's not like one genre of film, even though I notice that my favorite films are one genre of film, but there's good movies and there's not so good movies.
Yeah.
But they all have something to offer.
Essentially, like, do you love movies? Yeah, so you're a movie buff. Do you
love movies?
Yeah. Yeah. I gotta get into that. I always say this too, like, you can't love movies and only love one type. It just doesn't make sense. If you love movies, you love them all. And that's just how it goes.
That's just how it goes. Yeah. Awesome. Well, so I hope this helped paint a picture a little bit of our approach to this podcast and some of our thoughts on movies in general. If this is the introduction, if this is where you're starting, then welcome aboard. We're glad to have you. We hope that you enjoy the first season. Again, as we find our groove, the quality varies a little bit here. We're kind of retroactively recording this episode, so you'll notice that hopefully the episodes get better as they go, as we find our groove and how we want to approach these and stuff.
Yeah.
But we're so excited that to have you along, and we're excited to do this. Like, I hope. If anything, I hope you are getting the sense that we are super stoked to talk about these films.
Yeah, maybe you found you got a little stagnant in your movie watching or your movie watching ways here, and so listening to this podcast and kind of maybe even watching a few bad movies that we've covered will, I find, give you a new perspective on things, and new perspective is always good.
Always good. And just as a warning, pretty much all of our episodes are going to be spoilery in nature. So make sure you have a look at that movie title before we start talking about it, because if it's a movie that you specifically do not want spoiled, I would say watch the film before listening to us talk about it.
Yes.
Because I don't want to... we want to give you some things to chew on, but we don't want to per se spoil the experience.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Well, again, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll sign off there. Looking forward to sharing these next episodes. The first one out of the gate is going to be Waterworld, and we'll catch you in the first episode.
Bye.